What did you do today? Did you make coffee? Drive to work? Answer emails? We call these things mundane, the boring filler between the important moments of life, the waiting room until the real show begins. But what if we have it completely backward? What if that relentless chase for the extraordinary, for the next peak experience, is not the path to happiness, but a form of spiritual homelessness? What if the most radical, life-altering truth is not hiding on a distant mountaintop, but is waiting for you in your morning cup of coffee? The great psychologist Carl Jung taught that after the heroic journey of the first half of life, a new, quieter, and more profound journey begins, the journey home. It is the task of no longer conquering the world, but of finally inhabiting your own life, the life you actually have, right here, right now. This is not a conversation about settling for less. It is an invitation to discover the infinite richness you have been overlooking. In our time together, we will do three things. First, we will diagnose the extraordinary trap, the cultural addiction to the highlight reel that keeps us perpetually dissatisfied. Then, we will explore the sacred art of the mundane, the shift in perception that can turn a simple act into a profound ritual. And finally, I will share with you three beautiful, practical rituals to begin re-enchanting your everyday life, starting today. This is not a conversation about changing your life. It is about learning to love it. This is the art of coming home. The quiet desperation of the modern soul is the feeling of being in the wrong room. It is the sense that your real life, the vibrant, meaningful one, is happening somewhere else. At a party you weren't invited to, on a vacation you can't afford, in a future that hasn't arrived yet. We scroll through the highlight reels of other lives, and a quiet, corrosive whisper begins, "My life is not enough." This feeling is not your fault. It is the result of a cultural hypnosis, a grand collective agreement that a life of value is a life of peaks, a collection of extraordinary moments. The mountaintop selfie, the promotion announcement, the marathon finish line. We have been taught to live our lives like filmmakers, obsessively collecting dramatic scenes for a movie that no one will ever truly watch. This creates a devastating psychological problem, a figure-ground distortion of the soul. The peak experiences become the only things that matter. They are the bright, shining figures. And the rest of our lives, the 99%, the quiet Tuesday afternoons, the commute to work, the folding of the laundry, all of it fades into a blurry, insignificant gray background. This addiction to the extraordinary is a form of spiritual sickness. It is the signature of a powerful archetype that Carl Jung called the puer aeternus, the eternal youth. The puer is the part of us that is in love with potential, with beginnings, with the shimmering promise of what could be. It resists landing. It resists commitment. It resists the beautiful, messy, imperfect reality of the life it actually has. It is always looking for the next, better thing. It is the part of us that believes that true happiness is just one more flight, one more promotion, one more relationship away. It is a restless, hungry ghost. I remember a woman I met years ago, Let's call her Jessica. Her online presence was a masterpiece of the extraordinary. Sunsets in Bali, rooftop parties in New York, creative projects that looked effortless and glamorous. But I met her for coffee on a perfectly ordinary Wednesday, and she was one of the saddest people I had ever met. Her eyes were tired, her energy was frayed. She spoke of her travels not with joy, but with a kind of frantic exhaustion. She confessed something to me that I have never forgotten. She said, "I feel like I'm a ghost haunting my own life. I'm so busy collecting moments for the story that I'm not actually in any of them. The best part of the trip is posting the photos afterwards." Her words were a diagnosis of our time. The collapse of happiness based on achievement is not just about career or money. It is about the achievement of experience. We have turned our own lives into a performance, and we have become the exhausted, alienated lead actors. This frantic chase for the highlight reel leaves us perpetually homeless, because life, real, embodied, sacred life, is never happening in the future. It is never happening on someone else's screen. It is only ever happening right here, in the unnoticed rhythm of your own breath, in the warmth of the sun on your skin, in the quiet, unremarkable, holy ground of the present moment. So I invite you to pause. Let's do a small act of rebellion against the tyranny of the extraordinary. Think of one simple, boring thing you did today. Maybe you tied your shoes, or washed a cup, or looked out a window. Can you, just for a second, bring that moment to mind without any judgment, without the need for it to be more? Can you honor it as a true, valid piece of your one precious life? If you can, you have just taken the first step on the most important journey of all, the heroic journey of the second half of life. It is a journey that does not ask you to climb another mountain. It asks something far more courageous. It asks you to come home. But how do we make a home in a world that feels so gray? How do we turn from the frantic filmmaker into the patient, loving witness of our own lives? To find the answer, we must learn a new kind of alchemy. Not the alchemy of turning lead into gold, but the alchemy of turning water into wine. The greatest act of heroism in the second half of life is not to slay another dragon. It is to have the courage to return home. Carl Jung spoke of this journey not as a defeat, but as a necessary and beautiful descent. The heroic ego, the part of us that spent its youth climbing mountains and conquering worlds, must learn a new kind of strength. The strength to step back. The strength to serve a new master. That new master is the self, the quiet, whole, centered core of our being. The self does not seek conquest. It seeks presence. It does not ask, "What can I achieve?" It asks, "Can I simply be here for this?" The ultimate heroic act of the mature soul is not to win another prize. It is to have the courage to sit still and be fully present with what is. This is the great reframe. We shift from a life of doing to a life of being. And the gateway to a life of being is found in the place we have been taught to despise, the mundane, the ordinary, the repeatable. The secret to transforming the mundane into the sacred is not in changing the act, but in changing the quality of attention you bring to the act. This is the art of psychological alchemy. It is the art of turning water into wine. Let us perform this alchemy together, right now, with a simple, universal ritual, a cup of tea. Imagine two ways of drinking this tea. The first is the way of the ego, the way of the busy filmmaker. You make the tea while on your phone. You drink it while scrolling through emails, your mind already in the next meeting, the next task. The tea is not an experience, it is fuel. It is a means to an end. The water remains water. Now, imagine the second way, the way of the self, the way of the patient witness. You decide to give this cup of tea 5 minutes of your undivided, loving attention. You watch the steam rise. You feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. You notice the deep amber color of the liquid. You bring it to your lips, and for the first time, you truly taste it. The subtle bitterness, the hint of sweetness. In that moment, everything else falls away. There is no past, no future. There is only you and this cup and this quiet, perfect moment of being alive. The act is the same, but the experience is infinitely different. In the second instance, the cup of tea is no longer just fuel. It is a sacrament, a ritual, an act of deep connection to the present moment. You have not just consumed a beverage, you have inhabited your life. The water has become wine. I spent so much of my own life drinking water and wondering why I was still thirsty. I rushed through my meals to get to the next thing. I rushed through conversations to make my point. I rushed through my own beautiful, ordinary days on my way to some imaginary, extraordinary future. And I was thirsty, so thirsty. The healing began when I learned this simple alchemy, when I learned to stop and give my full, loving attention to one simple thing at a time. That first cup of tea, experienced with presence, was more nourishing to my soul than a week-long vacation I had rushed through. It was a homecoming. This is the key. We elevate the ordinary by seeing the universal archetype hidden within it. When you prepare a meal for someone you love, you are not just making food. You are participating in the eternal, sacred archetype of the nurturer. When you tidy a chaotic room, you are not just cleaning. You are a co-creator with the cosmos, enacting the great mythic story of bringing order to chaos. When you plant a single seed in your garden, you are not just gardening. You are participating in the miracle of life, death, and rebirth. This shift in perception changes everything. Your life is no longer a series of boring tasks punctuated by occasional highlights. It becomes a rich, meaningful, mythic tapestry. Every thread, no matter how small or plain, is sacred. Every moment is an opportunity to touch the eternal. I invite you to pause. Think of your own life. What is one mundane, repeatable act that you often rush through? Brushing your teeth, driving to work, your morning shower. What would it feel like to perform that one act
just once, with the full, loving attention of a sacred ritual. In the comments, I invite you to share that one act. Let's name the rituals we are ready to reclaim. This is not about adding more to your to-do list. It is about bringing more of you to the life you are already living. It is the beginning of the end of the restless search, because you start to realize that the sacred, the beautiful, the profound was never somewhere else. It has been here all along, waiting patiently in the heart of the ordinary, waiting for you to simply notice. But to notice in a world designed to distract requires practice. It requires creating new habits of the soul, new, simple rituals that can act as anchors in the storm of modern life. And it is to these practical, beautiful rituals that we will turn our attention next.
The opposite of the sacred is not the profane. It is the unnoticed. The great work of reclaiming your life from the gray blur of habit is the work of noticing. It is the practice of bringing your soul back into your body, your attention back into the present moment. This sounds simple, but in a world that profits from your distraction, it is a radical act of rebellion. It requires more than just an idea. It requires rituals. Simple, conscious, repeatable acts that create anchors of presence in the chaotic ocean of your day. Let us learn 3 of these rituals together. Think of them as a form of practical magic for re-enchanting your life. The first ritual is called the sacred threshold. Every day, you cross dozens of thresholds. The front door of your home, the door to your office, the door of your car. We usually rush through them, our minds already on the next thing. But a threshold is a powerful, symbolic place. It is a transition between worlds. I invite you to choose one threshold that you cross every single day. Let's say the front door of your home. And you will turn this crossing into a 2-second ritual. Before you open the door to leave in the morning, you will pause. You will place your hand on the doorknob. You will feel its coolness, its weight. You will take one conscious breath. And as you exhale, you will silently say to yourself, I am stepping out into the world. And when you return at the end of the day, before you step inside, you will do the same. Hand on the knob, one conscious breath, and the words, I am home. This takes no extra time, but it changes everything. It breaks the spell of automaticity. It creates a sacred pause that separates your inner world from the outer world. It is a tiny act of mindfulness that says, I am here. My life is happening now. The second ritual is the one thing at a time challenge. The modern mind has been trained for multitasking. We believe it is a strength, but it is a myth. Multitasking is not doing many things at once. It is doing many things badly and robbing each of them of the gift of your presence. So for just 10 minutes a day, I invite you to a radical experiment. Choose one mundane task: folding laundry, washing the dishes, answering a single email. And for those 10 minutes, you will do only that one thing. No phone beside you, no podcast in your ears. You will bring the full, curious, non-judgmental power of your attention to the task at hand. If you are washing a dish, you will feel the warmth of the water on your hands. You will notice the scent of the soap, the smooth curve of the plate, the sound of the water. When your mind wanders, and it will, you will gently, without scolding, bring it back. This is a meditation in motion. It is a practice of training your mind to come home to the present moment. And it is in this simple, focused attention that the ordinary act begins to reveal its hidden beauty. You are no longer a machine completing a task. You are a human being, engaged in the sensory richness of your own life. The third ritual is my favorite. It is called the beauty hunt. Our brains have a natural negativity bias. We are wired to scan for threats, for problems, for what is wrong. The beauty hunt is a conscious practice to rewire that neural programming. At the end of your day, before you sleep, you will take out a journal and you will write down 3 small, ordinary, beautiful things you noticed that day. This is not a gratitude list for the big things. This is an inventory of the unnoticed sacred. It might be the way the late afternoon sun lit up the dust motes in the air, or the genuine, unforced smile of the person at the checkout counter, or the feeling of my dog's head resting on my lap. At first, this may be difficult. You may have to hunt for them. But as you practice, something magical happens. Your brain begins to actively search for beauty during your day. You start to see it everywhere. The world does not change, but your eyes do. You are training yourself to see the gold that has been hidden in plain sight all along. Pause with me here. Imagine your day so far. What is one small, ordinary, beautiful thing you have already experienced today? Perhaps it was the taste of your first sip of coffee, or a bird you heard outside your window. In the comments, I invite you to share that one small moment of beauty. Let's create a collective journal of the sacred ordinary. These 3 rituals, the threshold, the one thing at a time, the beauty hunt, they are not about adding more to your life. They are about going deeper into the life you already have. They are the tools of the alchemist. And when you practice this alchemy, when you begin to find the sacred in the mundane, a profound liberation occurs. The frantic, hungry ghost of the puer aeternus, the part of you that is always chasing more, begins to quiet down. It begins to rest, because it is finally being fed, not with the empty calories of peak experiences, but with the deep, soul-nourishing substance of the present moment. You have finally arrived. You are no longer in the waiting room. You are home. And from this place of being at home in your own life, a new perspective on time itself begins to emerge. If the present moment is this rich, what then is the meaning of the future, of growing older, of the great unfolding mystery
of aging. That is the next quiet shore we will explore together.
Today, we have not learned a new way to chase happiness. We have learned a new way to be, a way to come home. We began by diagnosing the cultural sickness of the extraordinary trap, the frantic chase for the highlight reel that leads to a profound spiritual homelessness. We saw in the story of Jessica how a life lived for the story can leave us feeling like a ghost in our own existence. But then, we chose a different path, the path of the second journey, the heroic return to the ordinary. We discovered the great secret of the alchemists, that the sacred is not found, but created through the quality of our attention. We learned that a simple cup of tea, when met with our full presence, can become a sacrament, that the water of the mundane can be turned into the wine of the meaningful. And we did not leave this as a beautiful idea. We made it real. We opened the toolkit of practical magic, the sacred threshold to anchor us in time and space, the one thing at a time challenge to rebuild the muscle of our focus, and the beauty hunt to rewire our brains to see the gold that is hidden in plain sight all around us. This work is the beginning of the great liberation, the liberation from the hungry ghost of more. When you can find a universe of beauty in a single drop of dew, the frantic need to conquer the world begins to soften. When you can feel the deep nourishment of a single present moment, the addiction to the empty calories of peak experiences begins to lose its power. This is not settling. This is arriving. This is the ultimate act of taking back your power. You stop giving the outside world the authority to define what is valuable, what is meaningful, what is sacred. You claim that power for yourself. You become the one who decides that this breath, this step, this simple, ordinary moment is enough. And in that feeling of enough, you find the only true abundance, the only lasting peace. You are no longer a hungry ghost haunting a life you hope to have one day. You are the quiet, grateful host of the beautiful, ordinary life you have right now. You are home. Your invitation for this week is to begin, not with a grand gesture, but with a small, quiet act of devotion to your own life. Tomorrow morning, with your first cup of coffee or tea, I invite you to perform the ritual we spoke of. No phone, no news, no to-do list. Just for the first 3 sips. Give it your full, undivided, loving attention. Feel the warmth, taste the flavor, inhabit the moment. Then, in the comments below, I invite you to share just one word that describes what you noticed. Was it warmth? Stillness? Resistance? There is no right answer. There is only the beautiful, courageous act of showing up for your own life. We have learned to find our home in the present moment. But this home, this life, exists within the great unfolding river of time. How do we relate to that river as it carries us forward? After the heroic journey of the first half of life, what is the sacred task of the second half? What is the spiritual purpose of growing older? That is not a story of decline, it is a story of deepening. It is the art of aging, and it is the profound, liberating shore we will explore in our next conversation. Thank you for coming home with me today. Your presence is your gift to the world.